Okay, so on the last video, if you'll remember, we just graphed where we had a constant on the top and then your x. And even though we took that and we shifted it left, right, up, and down, we'll write it like that with our h and our k. Let's put the minus in there though. There we go. Okay, so this would be your basic equation, and this again is it translated to the right and to the left. And again, remember that your basic equation looked basically like this, with your x and y axis being your horizontal and your vertical asymptotes. So now we're going to look at one in which instead of it being a constant on top, we actually have the variable x. And both of these will always, in this case that we're talking about, be to the first power. Okay, so that's going to be your first thing. Now, when we look at our vertical asymptotes and our horizontal asymptotes that we're going to look at on there, again, remember your vertical asymptote in this case is your where your denominator cannot be 0. So x plus 1 we know cannot equal 0. So x equals -1 would be my vertical asymptote. So we're going to draw that in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw in where x is a -1. Okay, on there. Now, here's the new one on there. When we do our horizontal asymptote, guys, it is going to be, and we're going to call this A and B, okay? It is going to be A over B, whatever those values are. And so in this case, my values are just 1. I just have a 1 out in front. And so we know that y equals 1 will be my horizontal asymptote. Okay, so in a little bit, if we put like a 2 over 2x over x plus 1, then my horizontal asymptote would be at 2. Okay, so those are the two things we'll start with. The other thing that we can look at also along with those is our x and our y intercept. Because again, we looked at those a little bit last video. We can also look at those again. And so when we look at our x-intercept, remember we always let our y equal 0. Well, when I put a 0 in for the y up here, we'll just do that, I get this equation. If I cross multiply, I'm going to get 0 times x plus 1, which is just 0. And so I know that x is also 0. So my x-intercept and my y-intercept in this case are both 0, 0. Okay? So I can go ahead and draw that in at 0, 0. Okay? So let me use a different color here. Let's do orange, just so you guys can see that orange. Okay, so now that's just what I know so far. We're going to assume it's going to look like the others, in which it's just going to kind of come in here. Okay, but let's just double check it. So we're going to do real quickly, let's just do a t-table. And let's put some points in. So I already have 0. Let's put 1 in. So I would have 1 over 1 plus 1, which would be 1/2. So at 1, I'm at 1/2. 1, I'm at 1/2. Whoops, I hate it when it does that. My iPad does not like me doing points for some reason. I guess I'm holding it too long. Okay, and then let's do another one, because so far we're on the graph that we thought we would be. Let's put a 2 in. So 1 over 2 plus 1, that would be 1/3. Now guys, if you need estimates, that's, oh, sorry, I forgot what I was doing. That's 2, because my x is on top also, 2/3. I was fixing to say that's not working. So 1/2 would be 0.5, 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. So let's get that point in there. So I'm at 2 and 0.6. So that one's going to go up a little bit higher. So it does look like my predicted is correct. And so we could go ahead and just draw that in because we got a pretty good idea what it looks like. And the assumption is that my other is going to be up over here. Woo. Okay. Now, let's just do a checkpoint real quick just to make sure. So let's put in, let's say, a -2. Okay, so that would be a -2 over a -2 plus 1. So that would be a -2 over a -1, which is 2. So I am at a -2. I'm not on it, but it is right there. Okay, so yeah, my graph's a little off. I'll fix it prettier. Okay. So down through here. There we go. Okay. There we have it. So again, the difference in this one is that my horizontal asymptote, you are going to have, it's going to be A over B. Okay, your vertical asymptote, it stays the same. X-intercept, we're going to let Y be 0. Y-intercept, we're going to let X be 0. And again, if we need to, we're going to test a point. Okay, so I'm going to do one more of these just to show you how it works again, and then we'll go over on. So Y equals, now you could have both A and B be numbers. Okay, you can have like 2/3, 3/4. I'm not going to give you that for now because then that would be a little bit harder to do. But we'll give you, let's do a 2x over x plus, we'll do x plus 2. Okay, and so in this case, whoops, let's go vertical asymptote first. I always like it first for some reason. Vertical asymptote, again, is where we set the denominator equal to 0, so x is a -2. Our horizontal asymptote, again, will be our a over b, in this case 2 over 1, so y equals 2. So when I come to my graph, now we haven't talked about reflections. Now if there's a negative, okay, out in front, negative, it's going to flip it into your other two quadrants, okay, on that. We can look at some just on Desmos or on your graphing calculator as needed. So let's go ahead and plug this in. So we have x equals a -2. Okay, and we have y equals 2. I kind of made my graph. Okay, now as far as the rest of it goes, guys, we really haven't changed too much of it. So it is still going to be in these two quadrants. We haven't put a negative in it. We haven't flipped it. Any of that kind of stuff. So as long as we don't put a negative out in front, it's going to stay in these two quadrants when it looks like this. Now we could do again a quick t-table, and let's just do. Oh, let's go. I tell you what, let's do. Let's go ahead and do our x and y intercepts. So let's just do that. So we're going to do, because it looks like I'm going to have both of those. So let's do an x-intercept. Again, we're going to let y be 0. So I would have 0 equals 2x over x plus 2. So cross multiply, I'm going to get 0 equals 2x, so x equals 0. Okay, so I am going to hit again at 0, 0. There we go. Okay, now we talked about that it's going to be in this quadrant and this quadrant, so you should know that up in this quadrant up here there's no intercepts. So it is here. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. I could put in more points if I wanted to. Well, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's put 1 on the other side. We'll put a 1 in. Let's put 1. I'll just go ahead and do a t-table. So if I put a 1 in, that would be 2 times 1 over 1 plus 2. So that's 2/3. So at 1, I'm at 2/3, somewhere about there. Okay? And I could put in, let's go put a -1 in. So 2 times a -1, and a -1 plus 2, so that would be a -2 over 1, which would be a -1, so I'm at a -1 and -1 right here. Okay, so that's giving me my graph. That almost looks like it's in a line the way I drew it, but it really shouldn't be. It's coming down through here. Okay. And then again, I could put points in, but again, it's going to be, whoops, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of the reflection. Now, one of the things we'll talk about that too, that also kind of makes it move away from this point here. So we're 2 away. Let's go ahead and just put that point in there. Oops. Okay, mine does not look good. I'm horrible about drawing these sometimes, especially on this iPad. Okay, here we go. And there, and again, it should look like the reflection. So as long as you kind of have one, the other one's going to just reflect. That's all you're going to do. Okay, don't make these super hard. Okay, so that is, again, going back to what we were talking about. In this case, this is when you have x over x. So let's do, we're just do y equals ax over bx. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Again, so this time your vertical asymptote, again, is going to be your denominator, but your horizontal asymptote is going to be the one, it's a over b. Okay, so it will be equals y equals a over b. I'm going to take the equal sign out so that it doesn't look as equal. Okay, so that's the part that's going to change. Okay, and then we're going to look at a couple more things here.